or has admitted to having ideas that are more Democrat-like. He was friends with Hillary. He was friends with a whole bunch of... He's friends with Oprah. We're seeing more Democrat things happening in office. Maybe that nobody... I can't remember him. He's somebody... name escapes me at the moment. Maybe that guy was right. And all the people who stopped listening to him, all the people who turned him off because he was pointing out things about Trump's administration that weren't exactly on the level. Now you can see all those people, they're starting to go, things aren't adding up anymore. I can't remember the guy that they ignored. I just can't. But we got to take a quick break, folks. More on the flip side of this.
Now, don't get your panties all worked up.
The Gal in the Back, we'll be right back.
And you'll love it. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services. Their billers and managers are all dedicated to working for you to increase your profits. For more information, call CRRM at 248-579-3805. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
You're listening to the Joe LeBang Show.
Join the radio revolution right here.
It's better than some good Thai stick, man.
Yes, I would like some too. And before we get to the sound bites, I want to also add that massive $1.3 trillion omnibus bill. I mean, that just sounds nasty, doesn't it? Omnibus bill. Gave Planned Parenthood $500 million in taxpayer funds so they can continue on their little course of, doing good things for women. All this is happening while the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell more than 1,400 points this week. Another big week in the tank for the Dow Jones. We've had a couple this year. And if that takes a hit, there goes your 401k, any money you might have had invested into certain stocks and stuff. So maybe it was just a small correction. And if we keep having a bunch of small corrections here and there, we'll be back down to where we're in recession level at some point.
What difference at this point does it make?
Make America great again.
Yes, we can.
The EU approved a blockbuster buyout of U.S. aggregate Monsanto by German chemical firm Bayer. After securing concessions in order to win approval. You know what that means? That means bribery. So Bayer and Monsanto got together and said, who do we got to bribe to get votes? We call them lobbyists here. But they're just bribers. They bribe people. Hey, come on, man. We'll donate so much to your campaign. Maybe we'll give so much to this, that. So we offset the poisoning of our planet. We'll do some environmental things to offset that.
I'm the Great Pumpkin. Who are you supposed to be?
I am Cornholio. I need TV for my bunghole.
So we have that. But I wanted to get to some of these sound bites from Mr. Donald Trump about the massive omnibus bill. Let's take a listen to this one.
The last time we negotiated something like this, and as you know, it's always been a problem for our country, they get together and they create a series of documents that nobody's been able to read because it was just done. Now, you tell me who can read that quickly. Takes a long time to read it.
So you didn't read it, Mr. President, yet you signed it into law, but you're going to complain about the people who voted for it and they didn't get to read it. Okay, let's continue.
For the last 8 years, deep defense cuts have undermined our national security. How old are, and they just, if you look at what's taken out, they've hallowed our readiness as a military unit and put America at really grave risk.
Wars in a bunch of different countries doesn't put our country in grave risk. Facing off with the North Koreans and the Russians and calling Russia and Putin a Hitler and all that doesn't put our country at great risk. But having the largest military budget already on the planet dwarfs just about every other military on the planet. Increase the military budget. Let's continue.
Our military equipment is the best equipment in the world. And one of the things you saw 2 days ago with Saudi Arabia and with other countries, Saudi Arabia, as an example, is buying hundreds of billions of dollars worth of our equipment. And we're getting very fast approvals.
So we have the most advanced, so we're already the best. He admits it here. Yet he says, just prior to that, we need more money for that stuff. Maybe we've used up too many bombs and too many missiles and too many drones and whatnot. And maybe we've let too many other tankers crash into our boats, and we need money to fix all that stuff and repair that stuff and get new ordnance. We continue.
Therefore, as a matter of national security, I've signed this omnibus budget bill. There are a lot of things that I'm unhappy about in this bill. There are a lot of things that we shouldn't have had in this bill, but we were, in a sense,
shouldn't have had in this bill. We're forced to do it.
There are some things that we should have in the bill.
Oh, boy.
But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again. Nobody read it.
Neither did you.
It's only hours old. Some people don't even know what it is. $1.3 trillion. It's the second largest ever. President Obama signed one that was actually larger.
Second largest bill ever. You're complaining about signing it because they sent it to you. You could have vetoed it. Mr. President. But for some reason, you got right along and you said, hey, you know what? I don't have to read it. I'll complain about I didn't get to read it or other people didn't get to read it because I'm sure you read every line and you're upset about this and you're happy about that. Unbelievable. We continue.
If we're going to have really sustained, continued success. DACA recipients have been treated extremely badly by the Democrats. We wanted to include DACA. We wanted to have them in this bill. 800,000 people. And actually, it could even be more. And we wanted to include DACA in this bill. The Democrats would not do it.
The Democrats are the bad guys because they don't want to put DACA in the bill. Have you seen, like I said earlier, everything's switched. It's all flip-flopped around. Either we were had, which is very likely, or the Republicans are in such great fear that they're going to lose all their seats in the coming election that they think pandering and putting out this Democrat-like budget.
But we have to pass the bill
out there, and the president's signing it. Why he's signing it, I don't know. He says he doesn't like it. Then why did you sign it? If you don't like it, you don't sign it. You have the power to veto, Mr. President. Obama did it with Obamacare. Oh, speaking of Obamacare, Mr. President, how come that's still there? You did tell us that that was going to be gone. One of the first things, Obamacare is gone. Well, that's not gone. Oh, yeah, right. The mandate's gone. Well, for the time being, it's not permanent since Obamacare is there. When the Democrats get in office, I mean, we don't really need the Democrats in office if the Republicans are going to pass bills like this. But if the Democrats get in office, They can just put that right back in there, and then we have the mandate again. What has been going on this past year, Mr. President? Well, can you explain to me what your actual accomplishments are? I mean, not the fake ones where you gave a major tax cut to corporations, but what are your accomplishments as opposed as related to your campaign promises? Here's another one.
The border, we've worked very hard.
The border.
We have a lot of really by any standard,
I mean,
a lot,
stumbling.
but not by this standard, but we're going to make it go a long way. We have a lot of money coming to the border, and it will be coming over a period of time. We funded the initial down payment of $1.6 billion. We're going to be starting work literally on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, work on what?
Not only some
You're going to fix a
wall,
fence.
not enough.
Yeah, it's a fence.
Very quickly. But also fixing existing walls and existing acceptable fences. There's some areas that you have to see through. You have to be able to see through the other side in order to see what's coming.
Right, so you can let them in. So those coyotes can let the people in or bring them across the border and you let them in. So that way you can have more DACA recipients later on down the line, right? Unbelievable. Here's another thing he said.
We have many elements in the bill that we wanted. Just to look at a few of them. We're providing $654.6 billion in total discretionary funding for defense. It's a record. All records for defense.
He's happy that they've got $600 and some billion in discretionary funding. That's not the funding that is focused on specific things. That's discretionary. They can spend it however they please. Which probably means more missiles and bombs to replace the ordnance that they are using up all over the world. We might have to buy a new Moab. I mean, they're not cheap, And when you let one off out there in Afghanistan, you got to build another one. Seriously. I'm glad people are starting to come around on this. I really am. People are finally catching on that things aren't the way they were in Fantasyland thinking it was. They were so happy that their guy won because they had lost so long that they overlooked transgression after transgression after transgression. But it's becoming apparent to them, finally.
With that being said, I just want to thank everybody for being here.
When you have compounded transgressions, that things aren't as they were thinking they were. And they were all distracted on Q, or they were distracted with the Mandela effect or the flat earth thing. All while the important work was to keep Donald Trump and the Republicans in line. And while everybody was focused on this thing and that thing and the other thing, distracting them all over, this is what we got. This is how it's all turned out. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think his administration is finished. These are the type of things we're going to get. He's going to say, I'll never do it again. I'll never do it. We can't trust them anymore. We can't trust the Republicans to do what they promised. Obamacare, we're going to repeal it. Then it became repeal and replace. Now it's, we can't get rid of it, but we'll get rid of the mandate in a tax bill for now. Until the next tax bill comes up, or until the Democrats want to change that tax bill and put it back in. But who needs the Democrats? Because are you telling me things would be any different with Hillary running things right now?
What difference at this point does it make? It is our job.
We would have still got this tax bill. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, they're telling us it's 1.3. But early on in the week, when this was all being bantied about, it was 1.6 trillion. So that they wouldn't spend that $300 trillion or that $300 billion? Or was it just a race from there And that's part of that